Hi everyone. I was browsing Reddit earlier today, and I happened to chance upon one of the addiction recovery subreddits, and I went in to have a look, and I was kind of shocked because all I saw were kind of like people complaining about relapses. And as I read and read all the different posts that came up, I realized that a lot of people that are struggling with recovery tend to have this false image of what recovery should be. So, I'm pretty sure that everyone knows that addiction is something that almost everyone struggles with. It's just scientifically proven. It's a scientifically proven phenomenon that occurs because of, the chemicals in our body and the way, you know, dopamine is being released and things like that. But the thing is, a lot of people feel like recovery is an easy process that is just going from one point in your life to the next point. But what they fail to consider is the fact that recovery is actually not a linear process. I was someone that used to struggle with different forms of addiction, gaming addictions and things like that. And so I think that I'm someone that's pretty well versed because in this topic because I have overcome almost all of the different things that I was addicted to. And I realized that it's only through understanding that recovery isn't linear that you give yourself the allowance to take breaks from the journey. So it's not fair to just constantly push yourself in a certain direction. If you're going on a road trip, you're going to need pit stops. You're going to have to stop at the petrol station to, top up your gas. You're going to have to stop by the grocery stores to get, snacks to go on the way. You don't just continuously push yourself forwards. And you may have left something at the grocery store. You may turn back sometimes. But what's important is that you find the road back towards the destination. It's okay to go backwards sometimes, When I was struggling with my gaming addiction back in the past, I would find myself sometimes just playing a game or two. But it's through the understanding that this setback doesn't take away anything that I have achieved from the past, 3 weeks of not gaming. It is through that understanding that you sort of give yourself the allowance to make mistakes and to, put your recovery process on pause. I feel like oftentimes people, because of this misconception of what recovery should be, this false image that recovery should go in a straight line, because of that, a lot of people just grind really hard for like the first couple of weeks, and once a setback occurs, they just throw away the entire thing. They just give up on the journey and fall back towards addiction. So I think it's important that all of us who are struggling with something understand, truly understand that none of this shit's easy. There are gonna be some days whereby you want to watch porn again or like drink again. But before doing all that, just tell yourself that, hey, this is a one-time thing. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna, watch porn again. But what's important is that I don't do it for the next week. That's a promise that I'm going to keep to myself. And if you just have that mindset, you'll start to realize that giving yourself more grace is better for yourself in the long run than constantly just grinding in the short run, because that fuel is going to run out if you don't make a pit stop. So give yourself the opportunity to take pit stops when you have to. Yeah. And this doesn't just apply towards addiction recovery. it applies to everything. Even school projects, you don't just grind all the way. You allow yourself to take breaks. You allow yourself to rest, to hang out with your friends, and only then will you strike the right balance and ultimately achieve your goal in the most satisfactory way. So yeah, just a penny for your thought. My thought? I don't know how English works.